People are working in an environment where the wind blows and trees fly from the sky. They dig an object with a very bad smell, but when they pull it up, they get sick and fall down. People find out there are people inside. The talisman suddenly blows and the wind blows the lucky charm. Everyone feels a little bit of evil. Recommend to invite a master to do exorcism for the operator. The operator thinks this is normal. Suddenly someone vomits a lot now. At the time when everyone was extremely scared, they learned that this house had a disaster before, then quickly ran away. Tong Dang stopped a jade boy next to the corpse and then left in Uncle Ho's hospital. Dr. Hoff visits a young patient named Ha Nam. Suddenly the boy mentions a little girl who is a doctor. Suddenly he doesn't know who the boy is the most. Then the doctor said nothing and left. The boy suddenly sat up with his hand to say goodbye. Then made the onion go down to the basement to get the car. A family was pushing the baby suddenly and saw the baby's face very scary. Coming into the room laughed, but when she blinked, she was a very cute baby and drove back to the construction site where Tong works. She opened the door and stepped inside the music. She climbed the stairs again and was walking when suddenly there was a voice behind her. The silhouette of the water body turned around, couldn't see anything. She kept walking, suddenly she heard a voice. She walked over and saw Song Dong talking to the best girl in the long term. Because there are voices, all men stand in front of her. Her face was still touched by another woman, or when she entered and got acquainted with the singer, who was in charge of the house project number 81, then suddenly asked Ha Fi if he was in charge of the house. Afraid but not harmful. Do not believe in asking again in the house with children, because when entering the school, Phi heard enough naughty voices and was a bit surprised why she said no. Me came back to Phi restaurant and talked about moving to house number 81N. But Ha Phi thought that it was too far from the hospital and it would not be convenient for her to stay where Tong Dang worked. But in the end, the next morning, Ha Phim chose to pour in. It was still raining from last night until last night. This morning, when I walked into Phi's shop, I felt like someone was watching behind the Phi summer and the packing room. Evening came. At the dinner table everyone said it must be fun. House number 81 has a construction team. As a result, many people encountered unclean things and thought that this was a weird house, so they stopped the work. But why can't his father forget this? So he tried to restart the repair later. This project or Phi thinks that he just felt that before he came here. Tong don't think that Han Phi has a predestined relationship with this house. Knowing that house number 81 actually happened to make other people criminal first. That was once the illustrious young Soi government, as in one proposal it was because the case of a young corpse still shook the capital and the killer was the previous owner of the house number 81, the female dream of the crane, Nam Xuong, and the young Soi Trung Trak was born Ui Inong, the love she never expected to change. The narcissist found the crane because of jealousy. He killed the fetus and asked for a son. After what happened, the birth must have been forced to die. Then the family kept having strange things happening. So from a royal palace, he became 300 years old haunted house. Suddenly the window was open. Tong Dang closed the door. There was something on the pollen tree. Dang was busy with work, so she went out alone. She went into a room with many books looking silly around. Suddenly the lights flashed dry, blinking continuously. After the lights returned to normal, Miss Huang was scared when she saw someone in her room using a flashlight hit him, but it was like hitting the air. Then followed me. The door opened. A bright flash of light suddenly returned to the scene 100 years ago. Must be the present Dong, who is being threatened by everyone to return to equality before deciding to retreat home. Number 81 has not fought for power in their whole life, but they will definitely change their mind regardless of the birth of this incident, and Ki Sun Long will suggest that he must leave his wife and marry his daughter, but he will not agree. That everyone laughs. So Ki Sun Long used a gun to threaten. Suddenly his mother and his dream came in, and the dream was Ha's previous life. He went on to propose that he should give up his wife because of the crime of not having children, but in the end, Ki Sun Long saw a bead is a woman. Tanya decided not to force the birth, to leave his wife and let the dream of beads be a vase with Kim Tu, his daughter. After having arranged a marriage, Monkey Xuan Long protected the whole family from happiness. Most of all, the Congress Day has come. Everyone is happy to congratulate, only the quality of life is unhappy in the end. With K's career, Sun Long Sun took it and finished it. I went to Tan Nuong waiting in the room. But she must have been reborn in a county's room, and Kim Tu is the knife's previous life. Kim Tu was very angry when she heard the servant reported that she had gone to the dream's room before the birth, and the stranger returned to the room and fled. The people woke up outside and it was morning, and they found a book he had hidden. If it wasn't for saving the boy, Phai's son would not have died, even though it was just an accident. Ha Phai still can't forget Ha Phai asking Tong Dang to be with her tomorrow, but it's very important to go back to the reading room. The book Why suddenly came out of the book, blood flowed out, then something came out, causing her to panic unexpectedly. So she found a basement where the last time she went down the stairs suddenly couldn't see the image. Vaguely seeing a man swallow a girl holding a baby in a glass cage, then tilting a floating glass jar. Tong makes flying onions. Hong will quickly climb up, but when he goes up the glass jars also explode in turn. Worried that Ahoa was dead, Tong suggested that Ha Phai should go home, but after hearing the drums, he would still be here until today. Finally done housework number 81. Then the seeds didn't go to Ha Phai, went to the place to buy flowers. The autopsy found out that the cause was caused by a burning coronary artery that led to a heart attack. Suddenly lowered the Phi, saw a flower, woke up, tightly grasped dry hands and told her to come back and run quickly, but when she returned to her senses, the flower was still lying motionless and wasted time going back to the changing room, called the operator but couldn't, then fell asleep again when she woke up and saw Tu Nam took the little girl with him. According to Nam's words, it was her daughter who was always by her side and encouraged Tu Nam to persevere. After that, Phai quickly went to find the girl, but she fell. When she woke up with a tired spirit at the hospital, Ha Phai heard that the boy from Tu Nam last night suddenly kissed because of the worm, quickly left. When she arrived at the station, she looked at her husband by mistake. I was hugging another person who was also tired on the train and saw the scene of angry Kim Tu bursting into the room and a plus or a hand saying that she would win Truck X's heart. Time hungry Crane was standing alone when Vuong Genshin stepping forward and even wanting to help Dream Crane. Now Kim Tu can't have children. Now, if you dream about getting pregnant, everything will go back to the way it was when you used the umbilical cord left over when giving birth and put it in medicine, which is a forbidden remedy. The masters in the house did not use to give birth to a son, the medicine was not used correctly. Finally, Vuong Genshin found the best way to use the jet cigarette. The fetus was still alive in the womb for the medicine, then it will definitely give birth. Like a dream, or disagreed that it was a natural story. Budung then left the next day. The doctor took Kim Tu's pulse, but there was still no square. The doctor will try to dedicate himself first to Kim Tu. The image of the royal physician went to the ground to do it his way. A lot of pregnant women then woke up with a face full of panic until the backup student met his daughter looking for me to do while studying. When the Phi approached, the girl ran away from the cafe, but she heard the drums and the stars talking about the fairy in my heart. I was angry when I saw the shadows of the two tightly entwined, but when I opened the curtain, I didn't see anyone like Dong Tien behind Ha Phai's back. When he returned to the trench, because he told me that seeing his child as a girl, but he didn't like it, Phai, so he didn't want to see Tong Dang, he said, to return to reality. Their child died years ago, but Han Phai still believed what he saw. Both of them shouted at each other and finally Tong Dong gave up. Outside, Tong went to the hospital to visit Nam at the restaurant. Phi is always looking for her daughter, saw her box in the yard. When she picked up the box and the armor appeared again, she was standing in the Ferris wheel. Yellow horse hear the sound of his daughter in love. Don't run up and hug her, baby Hope, or Phi won't let go again. Suddenly the girl disappears and the scene returns to the old time, the case of the fetus. In the end, everyone knew how to help the fetus hiding in the palace of So-I. Then the people had a lack of nutrients, according to everyone, when they were close to Muang Hak's room. When he saw the cloth dolls, he thought that Abid was the killer who killed the city. Then he would declare to the outside that it was a dream, or he was possessed by a ghost, or was locked up before birth, to announce that he would invite the Dharma. If there is something wrong with a county, you cry when you miss the teacher, then go outside Kim 2 to make sure you have a crane dream. If not, for the life of the fetus, the house number will have to compensate accordingly. Then announced that she was pregnant. Still, the doctor went to see the dream school, thinking that it was because of the dream, or she didn't listen to her words before falling into this scene. Then Kim 2 also came to announce that she was pregnant, saying that it was because of the dream. Or refused, so it was only her turn now that a county knew that it was the healer and Kim 2 who killed those children. Today Kim 2 came to remember a county that used her life in exchange for a sure child. Finally soft-heartedly agreed that tomorrow, changing an entire county will return the innocent families of the victims back to the present. Ha-Fi came to see Dao and told me that Kim 2 robbed her school in her previous life, but in this life she wants to rob, go to the field. But why make it clear that she only admires but does not mean no peace? No one with a total degree. Besides that, Tong had long ago abandoned house number 81 to take care of Ha-Fi. After a while arguing, Hak returned to meet Tong Dang and told him about a grain of rice. The owner of house number 81 must be the killer. Then the scene of renewal appeared. People were very angry and threw things at the crane community. Then Dream of Hak pretended to be crazy to live in Kim 2 and Fuang Y would leave so that the dream seed would stay behind. People besieged evening. All the leaders incited the people of the province to still submit the news to So-I Doi Muang Hak's government. The birth must have come to the prison of the dream school. After a while that gunfire sounded. 3 concubines stood outside in the yard and looked around happily at house number 81. She entered the room and saw her daughter. Then there was a voice singing. Ha-Fi led her daughter towards the singing ahead. The shadow of a person, and behind are the roots of a tree that followed the next day to drink Dang to the hospital to find and run, but did not see the evening at the house number 81. So there's a large amount of gas here, so I'm not going to pick up the whole building again and ask everyone to leave before morning. I'm going back to my room, finding things and seeing an article with a picture of a bead that reminds me. Kim 2 gave birth but the fetus died. The doctor was very angry. The doctor sold the goods. Please invite the magician to do math 8 for the baby. Then a lot of things happened in the house. Everyone ran away from you. Beautiful and Kutu went crazy. Then everyone was dead by a black smoke in their mouth. Tong Dang saw a book with a picture about I, then had a voice like a piano followed suddenly. Song Dang's landslide still tries to run. Chemistry will, after waking up, find himself with the roots of the trees returning to the Song dynasty, that he has arrived in time to save Ha-Fi study Fi. The little girl and Tong Dang let him out, but suddenly